My name is Dennis Clark. I'm CEO of Cummings Properties, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here tonight, and also to be the first person, not the last, but the first person to congratulate our award recipients, our grant recipients tonight. This event has become an annual highlight for my colleagues and for me because we so greatly admire your collective work and the impact that you have in our community. So thank you for all that you do. Tonight's full program will begin shortly after 7, but we wanted to introduce a few guests who you might like to mingle with in the interim. And we take different steps tonight to try to identify who else is here in the room, to facilitate you meeting each other. We've heard from past attendees that the relationships formed in this room add an enjoyable and a valuable component for the evening. Somebody's added a handwritten note to my remarks here. It says, please remember to tell our guests that Bill Cummings has written a book. I've worked with Bill for a long time, and I think this is his penmanship. Is there anyone here who didn't know that Bill wrote a book? Raise your hands. Okay, Bill, I think we've covered that. But folks, if you have a copy of his book and you'd like Bill to personalize it, he'd be really happy to do that at any point this evening. If you don't have a book and would like one, they're actually for sale with one of our client firms to my right, Gardens Galore. So it's my pleasure to again identify a few of you who are here. Cummings Foundation owns real estate in 11 different communities, and those communities are fortunate to have exceptional executive leadership, including our home city of Woburn and the city of Marlborough. And we have the CEOs of both of those cities here with us tonight. So if I could ask Mayor Scott Galvin of Woburn to raise your hand so people know where you are. There he is, right here to my right. Hi, Scott. Thank you for coming out. And Mayor Arthur Vigent, City of Marlborough. Where are you, Arthur? Over to my right. Arthur, thank you for being here. We also have Middlesex Sheriff Peter Katusian with us. Where are you, Peter? Has he made it yet? All right, the sheriff may have been a victim of some of the traffic that's out here tonight, a sure sign of success here in the Commonwealth. We also have at least one guest with an international profile. There may be more. Former U.S. Ambassador to Spain and the current Dean of Tufts University's Tisch College, Alan Solomon. Alan, are you here? Oh, here we go. And we also have a past member and past president of Woburn City Council and newly elected state representative representing the city of Woburn, Rich Haggerty. Where are you, Rich? Right here down front. Thank you so much. Now, it's also my pleasure to introduce Cummings Foundation trustees who are here tonight. I'm going to ask you to join me up here on the stairs. Now, Cummings Foundation trustees are an extremely accomplished group, but they're also humble. So we're able to coax them out to the forefront only once a year. I also want to point out that they all serve on a pro bono basis. They've got diverse, very different backgrounds, professionally and personally, but they share a common interest in helping others in building strong communities. And I'm going to ask you to hold your applause until I've had a chance to introduce each of them. So I think working from the top stair, from my left, we have President of Cummings Properties, Eric Anderson. Hold the applause, we'll do them all. Retired, long-serving member of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, Paul Casey. Retired oncologist and executive with Leahy Health, Dr. Arlen Fuller. Bill Grant, Chief Financial Officer and Senior Vice President of Cummings Properties. Dr. Deborah Kachiver, Interim Provost, Tufts University, now working to my right, obviously. We have Executive Director of Cummings Foundation, Joel Sweats. We also have retired, I guess Dick's not here, is he? We've got Joe, all right. Dr. Joseph Abadi, retired surgeon and founder of North Suburban Orthopedic Associates, and also long-serving Massachusetts House of Representative member Carol Donovan. Now, please help us acknowledge our trustees. Thank you all. And I've got one more introduction. And we've asked him to actually share a few comments tonight, in part because we think he might be able to shed some light on one of New England's current sports mysteries. Who will replace Rob Gronkowski in the Patriots lineup this season? Now, this guest has a similar physical stature to the Gronk, although he's more handsome than Gronkowski. And that says quite a bit. He was also reportedly seen deftly catching passes thrown by Tom Brady last Friday night. And I'm told that the chemistry was remarkable. So I don't want to be starting rumors, I'm just saying. This is somebody who's extremely familiar to Massachusetts' wonderful nonprofit community and has a real close rapport with many of you. In fact, he wrote a very significant chapter of his professional career as CEO of a significant Massachusetts nonprofit, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. And we know how busy the governor's schedule is, and we couldn't be more honored and appreciative for him coming out and participating in tonight's celebration. So I give you the governor of this great Commonwealth, the Honorable Charles D. Baker.
Thanks, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. I'm here because I want to have a chance to congratulate all of you, but I also want to thank you. You know, I spend a lot of time around the Commonwealth with a lot of different organizations and a lot of local officials and a lot of small businesses and big businesses that are trying to do things to improve the quality of life in their communities. And one of the things that really makes this state special is the fact that so many people, one way or another, want to find a way to pitch in and help create better life and better opportunities for kids and adults in their communities. And I see it all the time, everywhere I go. And you are very much part of that constellation, and the fact that you've been deemed by the Cummings Foundation to be a particularly important performer is a really big deal, because I'm telling you, in this state, the competition is steep. And it's a big statement to have. And that is, in some respects, an extraordinary thing, because we have a really great state that I have this unique opportunity to get to see from one end to the other. I started my day this morning in Gardner, Massachusetts, and kind of worked my way back here, and I'm going to another event after I leave here. But mostly I just want to say thanks and congratulations. And of course, to the Cummings family and to Cummings to the Cummings organization, I just want to say thanks to them, because I want you to think about this. They've been doing this 100K for 100 organizations every year for a really long period of time. And when you think about not just the resources, but the statement that they make over and over and over again about their desire to pay it forward, to be philanthropic, and to find ways to help organizations be successful that are doing good work here in Massachusetts. It's a big statement about the kind of people they are and the desire they have to invest back in the communities that they've been a part of and that have done so much for them. And let me just close with this. Everybody talks about our sports teams, all right? They talk about the Patriots, they talk about the Red Sox, talk about the Celtics, and they'll probably talk tonight about the Bruins. And damn it, they better win. But the thing I want you all to walk away tonight with from me is, as somebody who literally has been to probably 250 of the Commonwealth's 351 cities and towns, and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito's been to all 351, and has seen a little bit of everything that goes on around this great state, we have truly spectacular people. And those spectacular people create spectacular institutions, and those institutions and those people create great communities from one end of this state to the other. And you will never find a community in Massachusetts that I can't find really good things to say about. And it makes me berserk that so much of what shows up in the public domain time and time again about many of our communities is negative. Because I'm telling you, there's so much good going on in these places, and so many organizations and so many people and so many institutions that are creating better lives and better paths for the people who are there, that the thing I want you to take from me is, as a guy who sees it with my own eyes every single day, you live in a truly remarkable place, and you are part of a great constellation of this great Commonwealth. And tonight you are being recognized and honored for what you do and who you are and what you can become. But the thing you should always remember is this is a team sport, and there's a ton of players on this team looking to build a great Commonwealth from one end to the other. Have a great night.
Thank you very much, Governor Baker, and I'm delighted to also introduce Middlesex County Sheriff Peter Katusian, who has joined us this evening and was also a grant selection committee member.
Tonight, we have the additional privilege and very special pleasure of celebrating with all of you the 2019 grant winners, Cummings volunteers, Cummings trustees, and other esteemed guests, celebrating the grant winners' grand achievement in earning a Cummings 100K grant. The three of us would like to kick off this part of the festivities by reciting a poem penned by Joyce V. So here goes. Welcome to the grant winners. Tonight is truly your night. Recognizing your valuable work is our honor and delight.
We'll call out each grant winner, and framed certificates we'll bestow. But rest assured, we won't forget about the $100,000 we owe.
Way back in July, we began accepting LOIs. We learned about the community's needs through 574 replies.
Our volunteer reviewers got to work, giving each LOI a chance. After much evaluation, they chose 225 to advance.
The full applications came pouring in, and volunteers pondered each request. Congratulations to all those here tonight. With flying colors, you passed the test.
To the volunteers, we owe many thanks. Grant selection is a bit of an art. Not everyone has the perfect combination of a critical eye and compassionate heart.
They gave generously of their time and made difficult decisions with great care. Please join us in showing appreciation. Volunteers, please raise a hand in the air.
And now we turn our attention to the reason we're gathered here, to celebrate the passionate, selfless people who've made helping others their career.
Across Essex, Middlesex, and Suffolk, you are the boots on the ground. Your work is challenging and never-ending, but your impact is profound.
Food, clothing, and shelter. You provide these basics, but so much more. Dignity, confidence, and optimism are priceless gifts that you restore.
People of all colors, abilities, and orientations, you assure them that they belong, because you know as well as we do that diversity makes our community strong.
Building walls and blaming immigrants are divisive acts that you resisted. These directives came from the very top. Nevertheless, you persisted.
You position our neighbors for a better future, giving them tools that are essential to break through barriers, fuel their passions, and reach their full potential.
To have such an amazing group gathered tonight is really something quite rare. This occasion calls for a toast. Everyone, please raise your glass in the air.
Here's to our remarkable grant winners, to their passionate staff and volunteers. We celebrate your life-changing work. Many thanks to you, and cheers. Thank you very much, and now I'm delighted to invite up Eric Anderson, Cummings Foundation trustee and president of Cummings Properties.
You've now heard from Dennis Clark, our chairman and CEO, Governor Charlie Baker, the most popular governor in the nation. You've heard our very creative, poetic trio, and now there's me. So please, lower your expectations. I won't be smooth, I won't rhyme intentionally, but I will be brief. As Joel mentioned, tonight is your night, and it's our opportunity to recognize you for all the incredible work you do in our communities. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take just a few minutes to recognize the various groups of people who helped make this evening possible. In addition to Joel, Christina, and Joyce, there's a team of more than 350 professionals at Cummings Properties. Every one of them plays a role in the work of Cummings Foundation. So we've got a handful of them here with us this evening. So if I could encourage them to please just raise their hand, and if I could encourage the rest of you to join me in thanking them for the critical role they play in making this evening possible. Thank you all. So these colleagues, they design, construct, lease, manage, and maintain more than 10 million square feet of commercial space in about 100 buildings here in northeastern Massachusetts. And it's the leasing of that space to thousands of businesses that really is the lifeblood of Cummings Foundation. Rental income from properties like this is the primary source of funding for all of Cummings Foundation's various grant programs. So to our clients, again, a few of whom are here with us this evening, if I could get them to raise their hands, I want to thank you for the critical role you play in making this all possible. Now, many of you have been here before, so you know I would not be doing my job if I didn't take a minute just to remind all of you that while our occupancy is very strong, we still have many vacancies. So if you or anyone you know knows of someone that has or might have a commercial real estate need, either now or at some point in the future, please encourage them to come and speak with us. How's the food? Is the food okay? All right. Colleagues from our sister company, New Horizons at Choate, which is an independent and assisted living community here in the city of Woburn, made themselves available to prepare and serve the hors d'oeuvres we're eating this evening. So if we could give them a big round of applause for their contributions this evening. Now, I know I promised I'd be brief, but there are two more people we really should recognize for their contributions to this evening. Fortunately, they require no introduction because there's actually a book that will tell you everything you could ever possibly want to know about them. So if you could please join me in welcoming to the podium Joyce and Bill Cummings.
we never really know what's going to come out when a colleague introduces us, and so that one wasn't too painful.
That was, however, the briefest, most succinct introduction either of us has ever had. Thank you, Eric.
It's my turn now, honey. Yours is coming. Seriously, I concur with everything that Joyce and Joel and Dennis and Eric have said about the volunteers and our grant recipients. You are all really cream of the crop, over the top people. And with the exception of the United Nations, I dare say there is not a group anywhere in the world that has more diversity than the organizations receiving grants this year. Race, religion, gender and sexuality, housing and healthcare needs, culture, education, career choices, and a wide range of ages are all represented by the grant recipients and also by the volunteers. So on this note, I want to share two multicultural stories. The first, an experience that Bill and I had at the recent Giving Pledge meeting in Florida. Last Friday morning, there were very few participants still in the hotel. Many had left the previous evening and others early that morning. Since our flight didn't leave until mid-afternoon, we sort of dilly-dallied around and didn't get down to breakfast until 9 o'clock. We deliberately chose a table for 4 in case some other stragglers came along and could join us. Sure enough, after a few minutes, a Chinese man and woman arrived, and we encouraged them to sit at our table. Turns out the young man, Feng Dong, is an entrepreneur from Beijing, and the young woman, also from Beijing, was his translator. His English consisted of 3 words, hi and thank you. We managed to have a fairly intelligent conversation, sharing philanthropic experiences and family matters. Bill eventually excused himself, saying he had to go up to his room, but he would be right back. That was no surprise to me. I was sure he was going up to get a book. And he came back with a book and presented it to Feng Zhang, and Feng Zhang, accepting the book, asked if it had been translated into Chinese. No. A few minutes later, Feng Zhang excused himself and returned with a scroll, which is behind you. I don't know how many of you were able to see it before. We were dumbstruck when it was rolled out, and of course asked for a translation. But as we later learned, it is in ancient calligraphy, and his translator had no idea what it said. He told her a few words, history, looking back, going forward, and I hastily scribbled them down. So now, he had a book he couldn't read, and we had a gorgeous scroll with little knowledge of its significance. Returning to Winchester, we called Sandy Thompson, founder of the Winchester Multicultural Network, and she arranged for Wen Han, who she described as the go-to person for everything in the Chinese community, to translate it for us. Wei's gracious response was this: please feel free to ask me about anything that relates to Chinese. I'm very happy to help out using my native language. I understand the words on the scroll. It was beautifully written in Chinese calligraphy. These total 14 words form a couplet, 7 words each line. I am not a professional translator, but I know a little about Chinese ancient poems. My translation for the couplet would be, the first line, which you read from right to left, is viewing history, knowing present, and advancing to future. The second line is reading books, raising awareness, and seeing through time. It is a well-known couplet in China. It means if one can read a lot of books, study history, and increase awareness, then he or she can figure out what is going on now and become wise. This is my humble attempt to translate this couplet. These words describe everyone in this room, especially the words increasing awareness and figuring out what is going on. You do that, and then you take action. Sometimes I get hooked on a subject and just have to know more. So I went to the foremost authority on everything, Google, and found far more than we have time to share here. If you want to know more, just type in the words Chinese couplets, and voila, you too can become an expert. The second story is much shorter. I recently read about a high school teacher in India who challenged his first-year students to write a prose poem on the topic, "If I Were Given Two Wings." One stood out above all others. "Oh, were I blessed with two wings, with them I would fly afar to become wings of those who have no wings." That student now teaches at a primary school in Kerala, India. Again, congratulations and thanks to you all, and blessings on all of you and the organizations you represent for flying with your two wings to those who have no wings. Thank you.
Liz and I also have an obligation to be brief, and although we normally tend to switch back and forth with the microphone, I'm going to go to the next phase of the program. The first organization happens to be from Alston, Deaf and Incorporated. Next we have Andover, it's the Andover Public Schools. Arlington Youth Counseling Center. ACE Mentor Program. Beyond Conflict in Boston. The Boston Foundation is there. The College for Social Innovation. Thank you. Doc Wayne Youth Services. Emmanuel College. Where's Emmanuel? Okay. Family in Boston. Family aid Boston, I'm sorry. You made it clear. Good sign. First Literacy. King Boston. And the Lindy Taken Fund. Massachusetts Advocates for Children. The Massachusetts Institute for a New Commonwealth. The England Center at Home for Veterans. Thank you. New England Innocence Project in Boston. Refugee and Immigrant Assistance Center. Thank you. Thank you. Resilient Coders. Social Innovation Forum. South End Technology Center, Tennessee. Oh, good sign. It's technology related. Stepping Stone Foundation. Tech Goes Home.
George Cummings for president!
Veterans Legal Services. And finally, in Boston proper, Youth Opportunities Upheld.
You ain't thanks you!
I did take those home, yes.
George for president!
I want to hear it.
You just want to hear it again, that's all. Now we go to Oxford, the community leader in Oxford. Right, we have community knowing. Oh, community knowing. Where's my glasses? Community road. Great program. And the home of little wanderers.
Cambridge Affordable Housing Corporation. On the rise. confetti in your person last year. Venture Cafe. Y2Y Network. Charlestown Federation for Children with Special Needs. Concord, Mike Harney's Play Ball. Danvers Community YMCA. Very original. Dorchester Coalition for Occupied Homes in Foreclosure.
Thank you for permanent affordable housing.
Dorchester Youth Collaborative.
Thank you.
Freedom House. Mujeres Unidas Obasando.
Way back there. Okay.
Sportsman's Tennis and Enrichment Center. Framingham Bethany Healthcare Center. Hathorne Essex Agricultural and Technical School. April, the Ark of GHM. Community Action. Marsh, Boston North. Northern Essex Community College.
Essex Community College.
Hyde Park, young man with a plan.
Can you believe it?
Jamaica Plain, Friends of Boston's Homeless. Thank you. Rebuilding Together, Boston.
I'm going to say that first Howie did a magnificent job. Can you go away with us? Good. Y'all know we have two doses. My sweetheart in love for 53 years. And the other is Wednesday in the office. Lawrence is bread and roses first. Communities together. Greater Lawrence Community Voting.
Thank you guys. We love you.
Merrimack Valley Immigrant Education Center. Merrimack Valley YMCA.
Thank you and happy 175th birthday, YMCA.
Northeast Legal Aid. The Psychological Center. Top-notch scholars. Youth Development Organization.
Thank you twice. 100K is also nice.
Very good. And Bianco Family Child Care. Also enrolled. Kids in Tech. Kids in Technology. I hope those are girl kids as well as boy kids, right? Yes. It's the best thing for the whole world these days. Okay, we have Lowell House. Thank you. The Megan House Foundation. Merrimack Valley Food Bank. Mill City Roads involved. Great. And Lynn, Center Board.
Thank you for fighting exploitation.
Alita Scholars.
Gracias.
In Malden, we have Malden Overcoming Addiction.
Thank you. Together we can.
Also in Malden, District Valley Elder Services.
For value independence.
Right. Marlboro. Friends of Marlboro Seniors. Friends of the Marlboro Seniors. Excuse me. Marlboro is the home of the other New Horizons, by the way. New Horizons that showed here in Woburn is 120 or so residents, and Marlboro is 35 acres and 400 residents, 102 or 3, something like that. Big place, a lovely community. In Medford, we have the Institute for Global Leadership. And we have the Tufts University Prison Initiative. New Consortium. West Medford Community Center. Okay, thank you. We have Melrose Wakefield Healthcare. Bethune, you're with us. We have 3 more new. Carroll Center for the Blind. Thank you, folks. Cooperative Metropolitan Ministries.
Thank you. Beloved community.
Thank you. And One Can Help.
This is so helpful.
Measure Road.